Hello everyone, and welcome to the final moment where we're bringing everything together that we know about our quadrilaterals. So we're going to put the properties on this flow chart and kind of see how they feed to each other. So the first thing we need to know about our shape is that it is a quadrilateral, and the properties of a quadrilateral are that we have a four-sided polygon. Okay? So right out of the gate, we need to know that we have a four-sided polygon. We're starting with a quadrilateral. The other thing we learned about quadrilaterals is that the sum of interior angles, INT, don't spell check me, angles equals 360 degrees, DEGREES. Okay, so those are the two things that we learned. So we've established that it's a quadrilateral because it has four sides, and we know the sum of the interior angles is 360. Going further to try to identify what type of quadrilateral it is, if we can prove that one pair of opposite sides is parallel, only one pair, then we can prove that it's a trap. So going to the left, we can prove one pair op sides parallel. Don't judge me on spelling. Okay, so here we've got a four-sided figure that's a quadrilateral. We prove that one pair of opposite sides is parallel, therefore it's a trapezoid. But now we want to know if that trapezoid is a special kind, which would be an isosceles trapezoid. To prove it an isosceles trapezoid, first we need to prove it a trapezoid, and then we continue further. So what we would do is we would check to see a couple different features. One being that the legs are congruent. Okay. Or we could prove that the, got back in the same cell. So let's try it here. We could prove, I'm going to write it down here and then drag it over because it's being fickle. We can prove that the diagonals are congruent. Okay, so those are two ways I can prove that a trapezoid is an isosceles trapezoid. A little harder to prove, but another property of an isosceles trapezoid is that the base angles are congruent. Okay, so that means our upper base angles are congruent and our lower base angles are congruent. And let's just see if I can draw on here as we go. So we know that these angles are going to be congruent. And we also know that these angles down here are going to be congruent. Okay, so there's nowhere you can go after you're at an isotrap. So let's go back to the center. We're going to go all the way to the right and venture to a kite. If you're a kite, we have a couple properties. So we've proven that it's a parallelogram. Now we're proving that it's a kite. Some properties of a kite are that we have two, let's just put the number two pair, PR, consecutive sides congruent. Okay, so if I am marking my diagram as I go, these guys are congruent and these guys are congruent. All right, so we also have perpendicular, diagonals. Okay, so we know we've got, and I'm hoping that it's going to let me get in that teeny tiny little space, but we've got perp diags. So I've got a right angle right there. Remember, whenever you see right angles, you think, oh, I have a right triangle, and oh, I'll be able to use the Pythagorean theorem because I know all my properties and my rules. All right, next we have one diagonal bisected. Okay, let's try green. Green, where are you? So this diagonal here is bisected. I'm using green, which means it's a different measure than the blue tick mark. So I have one diagonal bisected. All right, next we have one pair, PR, congruent angles. Okay, let's see what else we got for colors here. One pair congruent angles. These guys here are going to be congruent. And we have one more property of a kite. And I'm hoping that you're bored because you remember all of this stuff. We have two sets of angles bisected by diag. DIG. Done. All right. moving this down just a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of circle the angles that would be bisected, but these other angles here are going to be the bisected ones. They're not congruent to each other, however, the diagonal will bisect them. Okay, so we started with a plain old quadrilateral. We identified if it was a trap. And we identified if it could be a kite. Now, the other category you can go into is to be a parallelogram. And if you are, in fact, a parallelogram, we have 5 properties which are near and dear to our heart. The first one being the definition of a parallelogram: op, sides, parallel. Right? That's the def of a parallelogram. Okay, so another property would be that op sides are congruent. E-N-U-T. No, whatever. I spelled it right. All right. We can continue to prove that it's a parallelogram by proving the diagonals bisect each other. Remember, that was the midpoint we used to figure out if the diagonals bisect each other. You average your x's out, average your y's. All right, other properties about the diagonals are opposite angles are congruent. That you usually need information about the angle measures to do, so it would be less of a coordinate proof, but you could definitely do that. You can, in a 2-column proof, you could do that as well. And then lastly, we know consecutive angles are sup. Consec angles are sup. Okay, so we've identified the fact that it's a quadrilateral, and we're coming down this way. We know that it's a parallelogram. Now we ask ourselves, could we be more specific in the type of parallelogram that it is? So we're going to head over to the left and we're going to explore the rectangle. We know for a rectangle that all angles are right. All angles are right angles. Okay, so we're talking about, oh my goodness, I'm not sure how I'm going to include a drawing in this teeny tiny drawing, but we're putting a right angle. And if you have one right angle, you have all right angles, because remember, it's a parallelogram, and consecutive angles are sup. So if this guy here is 90, then the consecutive angle is going to be 90, and so on and so forth. All right, so that's one property of a rectangle. Another property of a rectangle are that the diagonals are congruent. Okay, so if you can prove that you've got right angles, or you can prove the diagonals are congruent, you have a rectangle. Let's go to the rhombus. So we're going to go over to the right. So we've got a parallelogram, but now we want to prove that that parallelogram is a rhombus. Some of the properties of a rhombus include that we have consecutive sides congruent. Consec sides congruent. Okay. And we know because it's a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. Therefore, if consecutive sides are congruent, then they're all congruent, because they're congruent across, opposite sides are congruent as well. Excuse me. All right, so what else do we know about the wonderful rhombus? We know that the diagonals are perp bisectors. Okay, now the diagonals form perpendicular angles because it's a rhombus, but then we also know that because it's a parallelogram, the diagonals bisect each other, so that's why they call them perp bisectors. There we go. I hope you can imagine what that is. It just looks like a porcupine. All right, lastly, one more property about a diagonal, about the rhombus, is that the op angles are bisected. I'll fix that format in a second. Okay, so what that means is, I'm going to draw one down on the bottom for you because I feel badly that the little picture is so small. If I have a rhombus like this, here's my beautiful rhombus. My sides are all going to be congruent. And here's my diagonal. What this diagonal does, first of all, we know the opposite angles are congruent, but it bisects those angles. So I have 4 congruent angles that are across from each other. Now I know the diagonal goes the other way as well, right? And those angles are congruent. Opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Therefore, these angles are also going to be 4 congruent angles. So that's the final property of our rhombus. Now, the square is the most special, in my opinion, and that would be because it has all of the properties of a square and of a rhombus. I'm sorry, of course it has the properties of a square. It has all properties of rectangle, that's what I meant, and rhombus. Okay, so this guy has everything. Meaning, it's going to have all the properties of the parallelogram, all the properties of the rectangle, and all the properties of a rhombus. So let's say I gave you a quadrilateral, and you were able to prove the quadrilateral parallelogram. If I asked you to identify the most specific type of parallelogram it could be, you would go further. You'd say, well, let me see if it's a rectangle. If you prove the diagonals are congruent or the angles are right, then you know it's a rectangle, but could it possibly be a square? So you'd continue on. And you know for a square, all the sides are congruent, so maybe you could prove consecutive sides are congruent. Or you know also, because it's got all the properties of the rhombus, that the diagonals are perpendicular. So if you can prove perp diagonals, then you can prove that it's a square. So you want to go through and see what properties you can use that are specific to that shape. So again, I have a quadrilateral, I identify it's a parallelogram, and then I say, well, is it a rhombus? Well, if I'm trying to prove that consecutive sides are congruent and they're not, then obviously I must have a rectangle. But if I don't have 90-degree angles in a rectangle, then I just have a parallelogram. So see how these properties interact with each other, and I would say make sure you're able to identify which shape has which properties. I hope this helped clarify. It looks so colorful. I'm so proud of this rainbow of knowledge. Thanks, guys.